labor is freaking awesome. The mentality that you get when you start pushing your baby out, it was such a cool feeling.
Were you feeling pain?
No, I was so drugged up.
What was the most unexpected things about being pregnant or having a baby for the first time?
My belly's really hairy. When you're trying to record your belly kicking and stuff, that's a lot of peach fuzz.
That is unexpected, Eddie.
I feel fat and ugly. I don't know why I'm feeling so down on myself. I looked at what stage I was in. Luteal.
That's the only one I feel.
If you had to switch husbands with one of us for 24 hours, who would you pick and why?
You have to say Caleb, right?
I have to say Caleb because I'm not related to him. Welcome back to the Unplanned podcast. I have my lovely sister-in-laws today, Addy and Abby. Everyone's confused. The internet's confused.
Yeah.
Our family's also confused. It's how we roll. We're not related by blood. Addy is married to my brother. Abby is married to my husband's brother.
Yeah, that was
You
good.
got it right.
That was perfect. And they're both having babies. So
Yes.
we are so... Addy, you're currently
27 today.
27.
Yeah.
That's so
It's
crazy.
crazy.
And Abby, 21?
Yeah, today.
Yay!
Yeah.
Over halfway.
And Addie's having a girl. We're so excited.
so
And
excited.
we're pretty sure Addie's
Abby's
also
having
having
a
a girl.
Strong feelings for that.
We have all boys in the family now, so I think it's the year of the girls. And this episode, we got your guys' input. We asked on the story about things that you guys might want advice on. We're not professionals.
Oh my gosh,
Please
I'm
no.
nervous.
Please don't take this as professional advice.
Sometimes I
We're
say
just
this.
girlies.
We're just
Pray,
gonna
give me wisdom,
chat.
please.
No, I think both of you are very wise, especially if we're all in our 20s.
So much life experience.
So much
we got
we're
under our
not-
belt.
we don't have that much life experience, but I do go to both of you guys when I'm like, okay, wait, what about this? What about this? And I really think that you guys have a lot of well-rounded takes and opinions on things. So I think this will just mostly be really fun to talk about, and we'll have a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone that replied on the Instagram. We're gonna get to as many as we can, and whatever we don't hit on,
Maybe we'll do a part
maybe
two.
we'll do a part 2. Who knows?
Whoa.
So
So honored that you keep inviting us back.
I'm
Yeah,
so thankful that you guys are on here. People love you guys.
It's fun.
Wow.
I like sitting and hanging out with you guys, so it
I
works out
honestly
well.
feel like we got to actually chat. No kids around. What the? No husbands.
Yeah, just
when do we get to
just
do this?
girlies.
Honestly,
we do 2-hour time slots, like 3.5 hours. Like, oh, we should go home.
yeah, it's time to go. We just actually needed this in our personal
Yeah.
lives. That's so funny. No, thank you. CJ's napping in the other room, and so we'll probably go until he wakes up.
Yeah, probably.
That's our time.
So, okay, this was the first one. This is a zinger to start off with. How did you know you were ready to have a baby? I am 23 and ready, but my husband, who's 25, isn't.
Addie, I feel like you should start with this
Okay.
because you,
We're the most recently
yeah.
started having a family.
Yeah, how did you know?
I think
And you were 23.
I
Yeah,
was
that's
23
your
when I
age.
got pregnant, and my husband was 23 as well. That's such a good question. I feel like it's sometimes hard to know when you're ready, but also it just kind of happened. For me specifically, obviously like praying, deciding when that's like best for our family, but I started getting sad when I'd get my period. That was like a random thing that I was always like, oh, good. We made it another month. I'm not pregnant. And then I was like, even though we were intentionally not trying to get pregnant and we were like using natural cycles like very diligently, I was still sad that I was getting my period. And so I feel like that was my tell to be like, okay, like my emotions are changing like around that side of it. And so like on the side of, that's where I was like, maybe I'm like really ready, because I've always wanted to be a mom. I knew that's what I wanted. I always in my mind also envisioned me having a kid before I was 25.
Yeah.
And it worked out for us that way. That was for me. And Blake, it took a little bit longer to like get him around to the idea. And I'm not sure. Same with like getting married. He took a little bit longer than me to like get there.
I think that's really normal. I feel
Yeah.
like the roles could be reversed, but I feel like more often it's the husband that's kind of like, well, wait a minute. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is about a lot of women. You just kind of get to that point. I was literally this way since I was in high school. So I'm like, I always knew I was a little crazy. I was like, man, I really wanted a baby this month. And I'm like, I'm single and 16. So this is really crazy. Single and
This might not
16.
happen.
No. I think my question would be, follow-up would be like, what are your husband's reasons for not being ready? Because I think there could be a lot of valid reasons behind that. Mm-hmm. Now, if he's like, I'm nervous about this, I would say like encourage him that most people are really nervous entering this new season of life. It's just totally different from anything. It's a life change. It's permanent. There's a lot of things about it that are, it could go really, like there could be a huge range of outcomes entering into this stage. What would you say, Abby?
I don't know. I'm trying to think about back to that time because with CJ, he was such a surprise, but I wasn't on birth control. I remember thinking like, oh, I'm at a point where if we got pregnant, it would be very exciting, but I'm not ready. but if it happened, that'd be great. And then I just kind of got ready once we found out we were pregnant.
Yeah.
So also I'm kind of, and Caleb was the same. Like we were both kind of freaked out. We were excited but freaked out. But then we got ready, and then it was so exciting. It's almost like the switch happens when you find out you're pregnant.
So maybe you just get
I don't know if I
pregnant
can
and
answer
don't
this
tell your husband.
Well, I think that's something to like keep
That's
in
really
mind.
bad advice and actually a terrible
Do not
idea.
do
I
I
guess
was kidding.
for all three of us specifically, and I feel like a lot of people when they like are trying to plan when they want to start their family, they feel like they have to be at this certain career stance point. They have to have a house. They have to do these things. All three of us did not have a house, did not own a house when we got pregnant. Mm-hmm. You guys both own houses now. We don't yet, or like have to have certain financial points. You guys weren't necessarily. We're not necessarily in a part where we were like, oh yeah, but we can make it work.
With our second, when we knew we were ready, it was more so like, maybe we're not fully ready. But we know we have an ideal timeline in our mind that we would like to have worked out of like when we want to have kids and we want to be done by having kids. And it's like, okay, let's go backwards from the end. Okay, then we probably want to have our kids this many years apart. And I don't know. So maybe if you have like a bigger grand vision of your idea as a couple where you're like, okay, we want to be done by 30 or 35. And then we want our kids to have ideally a 2 to 4 year age gap. Then I don't know, maybe then it'll help your husband like compartmentalize or think through, okay, maybe this would be a good time. What do we need to do?
Instead of starting at like the logistics of like what we need to have done, it's like when do we want to be done, and then like going back for like the guys maybe to like rework their brain.
Yeah, help them like think into the future a little bit. Or also like if you're like, okay, you're not ready right now, like what is your expected timeline? Because if he's like maybe by the end of the year, then you're like, okay, well I can wait till then. Like you know, things like that. My mother-in-law feels like she lost a son, not gained a daughter. Advice navigating difficult in-laws.
Oh,
that's sad. I will say my perspective on this has changed since having sons. I'm like, Matt, call your mother a lot because he's really good about like staying in good contact with his parents. But I'm like, Matt, it's actually not the most fair because like daughters, I feel like this is obviously generally speaking, stay in much closer contact with their parents across the board than sons. And it's like, okay, well, a mom of all boys, like our mother-in-law, I'm like, give Teresa a call. Like, I'm like starting to see this. Like, I knew that. I thought about that before, but now being like, it feels so personal to me.
Yeah,
like,
now having sons.
Please.
Yeah.
But that's really hard. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I would say on my end, like, really just trying to have a good relationship with your mother-in-law and like spend time individually with her could be helpful in that area. Because I feel like your family is really close. Like, you and your mom are really close. Blake and your mom are very close. I never had any like issues in that aspect, but I also like me and your mom would go to brunch or like we would do things on our own to where I also feel like she's now also just like a bonus mom in my life. And she might also feel like, I mean, she does that she feels like you're one of her daughters too. And so I feel like sometimes it might feel awkward to like do things individually with your in-laws or your mother-in-law, but that might be helpful in those areas.
Yeah, like maybe having a relationship with your mother-in-law outside of you as a couple. Just like you, woman to woman, having a relationship.
Yeah.
If she's open to that.
Yeah, I even feel like a really simple step. I feel really included in Caleb's family just by them having me in their group chat. Even though I'm not active in it at all. I never respond.
Yeah,
but
no, you do.
Do I?
You send pictures sometimes.
Yeah, sending pictures of CJ and little updates about like what's going on.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, okay, sometimes I'm active. But I think that makes me feel included and loved, and it helps our relationship with John and Teresa. Because I think then they feel included too. And so maybe if you have a group chat or you don't, maybe start one and maybe just start sending the updates.
Yeah, that's really good.
I agree.
Family group chats.
Yeah.
I actually was just talking to someone who she's like, I was never included in like a family group chat, and now her husband is going on independent sibling trips, like with him and his 2 other siblings, and like she's not invited or anyone's spouses are invited. It's just the siblings.
Oh.
That's interesting.
That seems bad.
Wait, it's just the siblings? You think that's weird? Just a siblings trip?
Yeah. All the way to Australia for 2 weeks.
I would feel weird with my siblings.
I mean, that's kind of a long time. It's not like a weekend.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Away from your
It's kind of
spouse?
a long time.
2 weeks away from your spouse, and it's just the siblings, and you can't bring your
I wouldn't mind.
spouses.
Like
and
a
the
weekend
parents?
is different.
I think the parents are going too. Yeah.
Oh.
Like it's like a family.
Family no.
I think they call it the core family or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think
Ouch.
that's,
No, that's
wrong.
weird.
I feel like once you get married, you're kind of like Your
Leave and
family,
cleave, baby.
You are family.
That pulls
Ouch.
into another question I saw, that someone's mother-in-law says they're not part of the family until they have a kid. Like, it's
Oh.
not after marriage, it's after they have kids in their family.
That is so toxic.
Why?
I don't
That's
understand.
so sad.
That
Like,
woman wants
like,
grandbabies so
yeah,
bad.
That's
You wanna be
selfish,
part of
right?
this?
I won't accept you until you reproduce.
It's like, you're not stuck here until you have a kid here.
I think
But-
that mom needs to actually think about what that means.
It's really sad, because, like, what if they didn't want kids? Well, I don't know their situation, but, like, people are allowed to not have kids, too.
Yeah.
As a mom, it's like I don't have a relationship with the mother-in-law. I mean, you're the grandma. Like, I want to
Yeah,
know
who
what
wants to
Yeah.
involve the grandmother at that point? Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
don't even
we
like me.
Like, why would I leave my kid, my most precious possession with you, and I don't even know you? Like,
Yeah,
you don't
that's
even
kinda-
accept me.
Owie.
Yeah.
I don't like
I
that.
saw that one. It made me sad.
That's so sad.
But
Oh,
what
we
does
should
it
be
mean in
saying
her
advice.
book?
Oh, what?
What does that mean in her book? Like, you're not part of the family. Like, what? I guess what does that even mean?
I would be curious to know what. Like, she
Like,
probably
she doesn't get a
has
stocking
said
at Christmas,
that? Oh,
or
that's
like
sad.
you don't get to be in the family group chat. Like,
We're
what?
not in the family pictures yet, even. You know,
That's
like,
what-
when-
yeah,
I
like,
don't
what does that
know.
mean?
Crazy. I don't know.
You know, like when you were like dating and you're like, so can they be in the picture too?
That was always
Yeah.
so awkward. I was like, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Sometimes even me, I'm like, I'll take it.
They're like, no, you're in
like,
the picture.
they're actually your kids too. Like, you could be in the picture.
I'm like, just put my kids in there. I don't know.
That's funny.
Okay.
Did we answer the last question?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Moving
it was about feeling involved, like
The group chats
the
and
group
the
chats.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that was a good.
Okay.
That was good.
Thank you to Acorns for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. We started investing our money into our Roth IRAs back while we were working at a pizza restaurant in college. And I would say this was the best advice we've been given about finances, is that time in the market beats timing the market.
But investing can sound like a big, overwhelming, confusing thing, especially for someone like me. I was like, okay, I know that's something I need to do, but how do I even go about doing that? And that's where Acorns comes in. Acorns is a financial wellness app that makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future.
And you don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now, even if all you've got is spare change. You don't need to be an expert, because Acorns recommends a diversified portfolio that can help you weather all the market's ups and downs.
Sign up now and join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/unplanned or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC and SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/unplanned. What was the most unexpected things about being pregnant or having a baby for the first time?
For me specifically, the transition from being stressed about going to every appointment and like hearing a heartbeat and doing that, to her kicking me every single day and just being like, she's fine in here. I didn't know that would like change in my brain, like the anxiety level there. And I know a lot of people still get anxious even when they can like feel the movement and stuff. And a funny one, when you're trying to record your belly like kicking and stuff, my belly's really hairy. Has a lot of peach fuzz.
I shave my belly.
Really? Yeah. I don't know why I don't. Blake tells me I should because of the videos. I'm like, look, he's like, I can just look at all the hair on your belly.
Oh my god.
So just know, if you have a little more peach fuzz, there might be some in your videos of your.
That is unexpected, Eddie.
That was specific. I like that. I really
That's
like
a
that.
fun one.
Another pregnancy one is like how often people do like just like help you out, or like do something for you that you actually can do, like carrying groceries or something. Like we were back home with all my friends and they were like, no, let us get them. I'm like, I can get it. They're like, you're pregnant. I'm like, I can get them, but it's like, it's kind of a sweet thing, but I didn't realize how many, because
You
I
can't
would do
tell
that to
them.
everyone
Don't
else.
tell them that you can get them. For the rest of the
just enjoy
pregnant,
it.
just for the rest of the pregnant people, the rest of the pregnant ladies in the world, just
let them
let them do it.
I think it is a very, they know I'm capable, but it is a sweet thing for people to
that
do
is sweet.
I wasn't expecting that as
I remember that too. Like, especially when I was putting like bags in the overhead compartment of planes.
It is hard.
Like, I was like I didn't even try because I was like, I knew people were gonna.
how nice everyone is to pregnant women.
Thank you. They're
got
so
this one.
nice.
Can everyone just be that nice in general?
Yeah,
Not just to pregnant
That's
women?
sweet. Yeah.
That is sweet.
Okay.
Okay, I think
You
I
go.
thought a funny one. All my friends that I talk to about when they're pregnant, I always say, oh my gosh, labor is freaking awesome. and I had a horrible labor, but like the mentality that you get when you start pushing your baby out is so, it was such a cool feeling. I felt so, I remember the whole time in my head, I kept chanting this. I kept chanting this in my head over and over again. Who's going to bring that blood and pain? Who? I couldn't figure out where it came from. She's the man. But your brain goes to the craziest places.
Were you feeling pain?
No, I was so drugged up.
See, I feel like that's different and just weird.
But I'm like, you just get to this
I couldn't
point.
see. I literally blacked out.
But wouldn't you say that was like so hardcore
Yeah.
and cool?
What was the first sentence that you used though describing? Because I did not relate to that.
I don't remember.
Like labor was the most exciting experience. Something like
Yeah,
that.
not fun is probably not the word. But it's like this switch happens in you where you just become this competitive animal.
Okay.
And it's like, my job is to get out this baby. You know what I mean? And it just is like this really, I thought it was a very fascinating switch in my mind where I was a little scared to then I was just like, this is what it is. And then you just lock in. And that's why women do it multiple times, because once you go through it, you're like, yeah, I'll lock in. I can do that again.
Lock in.
I'll lock in.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree with that to a degree.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
Honestly,
a lot of people
labor
probably disagree with
experiences.
me in some of my adjectives, but I'm like, no, you become, I'm like, I'm excited
Also,
to push again.
I don't know. That time was so short and I just don't really remember.
Yeah.
So can't. Oh, wait, you're talking about labor or pushing?
Maybe pushing.
Because you said labor. I was like, no.
Yeah, maybe just the pushing part. Just pushing. Let's just
okay.
narrow it down to
Yeah.
that. Because, I remember, like, I had the epidural shakes. I was like, but then, I remember I was like, crying. I'm like, I can't stop shaking. But the pushing, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. That was unexpected.
That is cool. What about pregnancy? Wait, I can say mine about labor, actually.
Yeah, let me
the
think.
one that I had about labor is that, I don't know, before having gone through labor, I was literally like, the whole time is going to be challenging, but not true. Even before I had the epidural, you have breaks, like, between contractions. And I think you're only represented with, like, pushing, and it's, like, really intense, or, like, the baby, like, I don't know. But, like, contractions come in waves. So then the contraction happens, and you will not be in pain the whole time. Like, it's literally like a contraction is like, what, 6 seconds? Maybe 10 seconds?
Like a minute.
A contraction is not
They
a minute.
last a minute.
Nuh-uh.
A minute long. That's when you have to go to the hospital.
Apart.
No, 5 minutes apart, lasting a minute long. I'm pretty sure.
What? That was not what I had. How long is a contraction?
It's so crazy how we forget. We have no idea. I'm like,
How long
I'll be
is a
going,
contraction?
a minute. I'm pretty-
No.
Yeah, because they'll
Oh,
go.
in transition, they're a minute.
But then you would,
Early, it's 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, but they're only like really, really, really intense for
like a second.
6
5,
seconds.
10 seconds. I'll stop talking.
Abby's ratios. Maybe I was also on Pitocin, so I know that really affects your contractions. Like, I was having them really close together, but they really weren't that long. But like in between, you'll feel normal, like relatively normal. And whereas like I thought that the whole time was gonna be like one big contraction, I guess. Like always, like your stomach was feeling weird, and also contractions. I thought I would feel it down low. Like, I thought I would feel contractions in my vagina. I thought that was what was going to be, like, the area of pain. No. It's your stomach. It's the muscles. It's your abdominal muscles. And so I think those weren't things that I had, like, expressed, but those were things that I, like, hadn't fully thought through, but I had misconceptions in the back of my mind about. And, like, the whole labor experience was relatively chill. Like, actually, it was completely chill. We were watching Breaking Bad and playing cards. So, like, I thought the whole time was going to be, like, a little bit more intense than that. It's really the intense, quote unquote, is really isolated to pushing, and that is, like, it.
Yeah.
So, I kind of was, like, thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, if people are in labor for 30 hours, like, I can't do that for 30 hours. It doesn't look like that.
Yeah. Maybe if you don't have epidurals, but we did have epidurals. You didn't have one for a while, but yeah. I always think about when people have natural births, they probably listen to me talk about this, and they're like, that girl is so dumb.
No, that was
Like,
not
she's
fun.
so naive.
Their body was breaking.
Yeah.
They're like, no, sweetie. Okay, what's unexpected for me about pregnancy? I think the first time with CJ, I thought I was going to be upset about my body changing and like gaining weight and my everything just, changing. But I actually felt a lot of freedom in it. And I think I had previously, I think all of us kind of most girls struggle with like body dysmorphia in some forms, or, you know, just their appearance. And I always had some insecurities, and I was like, oh, I'm going to hate that idea, like gaining weight and losing control of that. But I felt very free going through it, which I was grateful for.
I felt that way at this point. I'm like, postpartum is probably going to be a different story, but like gaining weight during my pregnancy, I've felt pretty free from that. But I know a lot of women that's not the case for.
Yeah.
No, like postpartum, I was shocked by how much I did not care about the way my body looked. Like, I thought that I would care a lot, like you said. And I experienced that more postpartum. I don't really remember how. I think I was pregnant. I was like, oh, I'm pregnant. It's fine. Like, I don't love it, but it's fine. But afterwards, I was like, this is going to be struggling because I won't have that excuse of, like, I'm growing a baby.
Yeah.
Like, and then I was like, no, I actually still don't care. I actually care even less. Like, the more, like, I'm like, my body's so cool. And I don't know. I'm like, that's the least important thing right now is like what it looks like. As long as I feel good, then I'm like, I'm great. We're good. It can do a lot for me. But
Totally. Yeah, I think I started caring less about the appearance and more about the function.
this one's a good one. How to handle introducing your newborn to people / how to handle boundaries.
Have you thought about this, Addy?
Kind of, but also not really a ton. I'm like so excited to show everyone and like and for her to meet everyone, and like I'm not in that like anxious part yet about people being around her. But I think if I have expectations, to just make those clear beforehand. For example, my family who's gonna come in, like my mom's gonna be here when I have the baby, my dad's probably gonna be here too, people are probably gonna fly in and hang out and stuff. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment. We do have a bedroom if people want to stay, but that's a boundary that I told them, like, hey, like I want our home to just be us during that time. And so if you guys could get a separate space to stay in, I know you usually stay with us, but during this time, I really want it just to be us and our core family. And they've been super respectful about that. And that's the only really boundary that I've set so far. And I think the best thing that we can do is just communicate that beforehand if we know what we want those boundaries to be, so people can start like thinking about those things. But I'm sure things will change once we have her too.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly what I'm going to feel like.
Yeah. I do think I actually might do some things differently this time with this baby because they're going to be born in different seasons. So CJ was a summer baby. People weren't really sick a lot in the summertime as much. At least I wasn't worried about it as much. Whereas this time, even though it's September, I guess I'm more so thinking about the holidays. I don't think I would let as many people hold the baby around the holidays because baby will only be a couple, 8 weeks old or so. And I've had friends that are really comfortable with people coming over and visiting and meeting the baby and holding the baby, and that's really fun. But also, it's really fun just to look at the baby. And I've had my friends that didn't want people to hold them, they would just wear the baby, or they're holding and they just don't offer. And it's not even weird. Like, it's just like, okay, I'll drop the food off. How are you doing? And they'll just be like, hey, sit here. So I just feel like you can play it however you want to, and people are usually really understanding about that.
I feel like a safe bet is to not ask to hold a newborn.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Like, it just feels a little taboo. In case you didn't know.
Oh, I always ask.
Really?
Well, unless they're like clearly very.
I feel like I wait till it's offered to me because sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to put someone in a position where they feel like they have to say yes to that.
Yeah, I guess.
Now Abby's like rethinking everything. I don't think it's bad, but I think consider your relationship with the person.
Yes.
If it's someone that you really don't know well, definitely don't ask.
No,
I would
no,
say
no.
that's just not really good. If it's like a friend that's like a sister, a really close friend, then obviously you know how to navigate that. But if it's someone that you're like, oh, I'm kind of here because I'm married to someone that knows, like, think about that. Like, how many degrees apart are you? Not that it makes... It's just for that mom. They're already wanting to like have their close people hold. It's just more people you're adding to the list, and that just grows their worry about like how many people have you been exposed to like in close quarters. So I don't know.
No, I think that's true. With like CJ, we weren't as close when you had CJ because I hadn't lived out here yet, and we were all at. I remember this because we were all at Abby's house, and was just like looking at CJ. I was like, he's so cute. And you're like, you can hold him. I was like, oh, amazing, thank you.
Amazing, thank you.
I wasn't gonna ask, but thanks.
I guess I do ask, do you feel comfortable?
Yeah.
What is it? Are you comfortable with people holding the baby? It's okay if not.
That's
I feel like
okay.
that's a better way. Yeah,
that's totally fine.
I'm not
Give
like,
me-
give me that baby.
Give me. That's a little.
That's a great way to say it. Are you
I think that's
comfortable
how I
with
say
people
it.
holding the baby? If not, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Thank you to ZocDoc for sponsoring this portion of our episode. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to to instantly book an appointment. That's actually how a couple weeks ago I was able to get a refill on my prescription for hair loss pills that I've been taking, as well as my Adderall. So thank you, ZocDoc. That was super helpful.
Making doctor's appointments is something that we have been very guilty of putting off. It feels really overwhelming trying to find the right doctor. Who do we go to? Will they take my insurance? Are they close by? How long do I have to wait? All those other things. But ZocDoc makes it easy. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 100,000 doctors across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, primary care to urgent care, and more.
You can filter for doctors who take your insurance, who are located nearby, who are a good fit for any medical need you may have, and who are highly rated by verified patients.
Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments, which is basically what we've done every single time, which is amazing.
The same-day appointments are so clutch.
You can do in person or just on your phone, and it's so handy. We use ZocDoc, and you should too. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/unplanned to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/unplanned. ZocDoc.com/unplanned. Here's a good one. When to tell friends and family about your pregnancy.
I was actually just thinking about this, that with my next one, I feel like I could wait longer.
Really?
Because with this one, I was like, I have to tell everyone right now. And I feel like I might be able to wait longer. I don't know why, but...
Why?
I don't know.
Why
just
would you
because I
want
already
to?
have a baby, and it was maybe the first time I was pregnant, and I just wanted to tell people. I'm like, I feel like we could enjoy it more because it's like adding a second one to the family. I don't know.
Do you think that you feel like you should wait because some people wait, or do you
I
think
think
it's
there is
because
a
you just
pressure.
personally want to?
No, I think there's definitely a pressure to wait because most people do wait. And so I feel like I'm wrong if I'm sharing the day I found out I'm pregnant. Because most
didn't
people,
share on
because it's
social
kind
media
of
or anything.
taboo
Yeah.
to tell people you're pregnant right away. But yes, sharing on social media I feel like is a totally different story. But I'm just someone who likes to share those things. I'm very open. So I don't know.
You told friends and family at right away.
I
the day.
told you the day of, told a couple friends the day of, family like the next couple days, friends at the next like big event that I saw everyone at. So I didn't like plan, 6 weeks is when we're going to, 12 weeks is when we're going to tell. It was just the next time I kind of saw people is when I told people.
Yeah, Caleb and I talked about this a lot. We kind of had the rule of thumb, like we'll tell the people that if there's a loss with the baby, they would be the
They'd know
people-
anyway.
Yeah, they would know. Like our family, our closest friends, our community, the people that are going to like come around us, pray with us, and support us. And so I feel like those are the people we tell when it's early. I think we waited like 2 weeks after we found out to tell you guys in our family. We kind of just waited and, I don't know why.
See, I feel like I could
I
wait
think
2
you
weeks
told me
this time.
pretty quickly.
I think we pretty much tell you guys like the week of.
Yeah.
And then we wait until we see our families in person. Or we try to.
Yeah.
I feel like I could do that next time. But that's the hard thing with not having both families here in person is that if I tell one, I got to tell the other.
Yeah.
I can't wait till the other, fortunately.
Yeah. I think we do try to tell the people where it's like, man, if there is something, really sad happened with this life,
Yes.
it would be the people that they would know anyway. We'd want them to know. And it's harder to tell them maybe in retrospect, like, hey, we had a life and we lost that baby. So telling them earlier.
I think it's a good rule of thumb. I think
That's
we
a
kind of
good-
thought about it that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good. I think the only reason we ever waited for both of them was like first with Griffin, like we were living in Hawaii at the time and we weren't around like our friends and family. And so when we saw them, we told them, but it was like a little bit later at that point. It still was really early. So I don't remember when that was, if it was like 8 weeks, 10 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, it was at Thanksgiving you told us.
Yeah.
I was going to say November.
So it wasn't that,
was
it was still
when
really
we
early.
found out.
Yeah.
But then with Augie, because the nature of him being like so unexpected at the time, I think that there was so much going on. I just needed to think about it for myself for a little bit.
Is there a world where, let's say it was like 4 months later, we're in the same situation, we're all at Disney together, you find out you're pregnant. Is there a world you tell us there?
If
Or
I
would
were to
you
go back
still
in
wait?
time? No, I think
If there was a bigger gap and it wasn't so unexpected and you found out you were pregnant with everyone else in the same house as you
Yeah,
had 5 days to spend
totally.
with everyone, you would have told everyone.
totally. I think that a lot was happening there, and I think a lot of it was denial and like so much fear. Like I told you guys, I like literally, this was like, and there not irrational, but it was just like my brain was literally telling me, as dark as this is, like this wasn't real, that something was going to go wrong. Like I really believed that. Like, and so I was like, I just need to like mourn on my own. That's literally how I viewed it. Because I was like, I can't believe that this is like this is happening to me right now. And then like, I don't know why, but in my head, I just like could not envision having a baby and everything just being great. And that was just the place I was in mentally. Clearly, I was in a weird place. And so I was like, I just need to, I don't know. I didn't feel like I could tell anyone at that point. Because I was like, I think I just also didn't know the details. I don't know. That time is so weird to look back on because it feels so detached from my life because like that was Augie, but I cannot connect those two pieces because like that was so dark and sad, but like Augie is like so freaking awesome and like perfect for our family and just like hilarious. And I love him to pieces. So I just can't really connect those things. And I'm like, I don't actually want to connect those two things because like that was such a dark time. And I'm like, I don't want to connect those two. Like he's great. And that's like, that was just a weird thing that I was going through that was like separate from him. But yeah, I think that if we have a third baby, I don't think I would wait to tell friends and family. Because we're like all here now. We were all like in a different, it was like life circumstances. So I honestly think that the best thing to do is, like Abby was saying, think about the people that you're going to want to walk through the highs and the lows with, like that you already are currently walking through the highs and lows with, and then like tell them if you want to, and if you don't, like, it's okay. Like, I don't know. Just consider if we're like surroundings. Like, are you close to them? There's a lot of things to consider there. But
I love the things on like TikTok you see of people who had twins but didn't tell anyone they were having twins.
So
then they're surprising the parent, like their parents they're like, oh look, and then the dad's holding another baby, and then they're like, and like they're so shocked. I'm like, that'd be crazy.
That would be so hard to hide.
So fun, but I have no idea how they do that.
Surely they wouldn't. Maybe they don't live as close as we all
Yeah,
live. I
'cause I
feel
would
like
like
you
to
would be
think-
able to tell or them being born earlier because that's how twins are. Or,
oh
I
gosh,
don't
I've heard of people not telling their family that they're in labor and then just FaceTiming them like with the babies there. I would feel a little bit sad if I was that family member. If I was like the mom, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I would like to know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know how my mom would handle that.
How do you deal with mom rage?
How do you guys deal with mom rage?
I don't know. This one I'm asking for myself. What do you guys think?
After the fact that you already did, or to make sure that you don't?
That's a good question. Exercise.
That helps for
That is the biggest. That is the biggest thing.
Get that rage out.
Get that rage out of there.
Gotta just
Okay,
lift
by
some
mom
heavy
rage-
Gotta
weights.
throw some weights around.
Does that mean towards your kid, or just the fact that you're a mom and the emotions
Oh, I
of
wasn't
it?
thinking about towards your kid.
What is that kind of, or towards your husband, or is it kind of like pregnancy rage? Or like,
Or
I
even
was
like
thinking
towards
of
strangers.
I was thinking of
what-
pregnancy rage,
Oh, okay.
which seems to always be geared at the husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Mom rage.
Maybe I don't know what mom rage
Should
is.
we Google that?
Google mom rage.
Okay.
Well, maybe it's when you're mad at your kids.
An intense,
don't.
overwhelming anger that mothers can experience often in response to the demands and pressures of motherhood. It's more than just irritability.
stress?
It's a feeling of being pushed to a breaking point.
Well, maybe that is setting boundaries for yourself as a mom. Like I think you wouldn't feel so pushed to your limit if you had boundaries. Now that's way easier said than done. But it can even look as simple as like, I'm not going to get my kid unless they're really upset out of bed until this time. And like having that expected amount of time, like in the morning where you're like, okay, I can do things. Like I'm not on the clock with you until this time. Now, obviously I'm not saying neglect your child. Like I do this too. Like I'm like, if they're really losing it, our time is 6 o'clock because if we can hold them out till 6 at this stage of life, then it's a win. So I'm like, if it's 5:54 and I can hear them chirping, I'm literally like, no, I'm going to put on my little outfit. I'm going to still put on my mascara. Oh, I also think that helps a lot, at least for me, like doing things that I'm like, okay, this isn't for them. This is literally for me right now. I'm putting on my mascara and I'm putting my clothes on and we're going to do this and that's fine. And like also people get upset. I've seen other creators, them get upset them too. And like other moms in general, like you're spending your whole time at the gym, like away from your kids, blah, blah. I'm like, no. They're allowed to do that. They're allowed to do that thing for themselves that makes them feel good. And in turn, their kids just fine. Like you don't need to add to mom guilt that everyone already feels. But yeah, I would say having boundaries where it's possible. Now, granted, it can only look like 6 minutes. Like I'm saying at 5:54, I'm like, give me till 6 o'clock before we're in presence and in fight or flight for the day. Also, doing things for yourself still. I don't know. What would you guys say?
I think I find myself feeling really, really impatient on the days where I'm like, I didn't go to the gym. I haven't eaten healthy. I'm like, I just feel overwhelmed or really overstimulated. And normally it's not really towards CJ. It's more towards my dog. To be honest.
Hate this dog.
I love him so much, but the minute he starts barking, I'm like, oh, CJ, it's so good. Stop it! That's towards Lewis. Poor doggy. We love him so much.
Lewis
He's a good
gets
dog.
the rage.
But yeah, like that, and that's on me. So I'm like, okay, what do I have to do to try to dissipate my irritability? And I feel like the days where if I go to the gym, or maybe my expectations are missed about how I'm trying to allot my time, like, oh, I allot CJ's nap for work. He woke up early. Like all those things kind of add up. And then if I'm feeling really like upset, I'll have to text Caleb and be like, I just like needed to talk to you. I'm just feeling so irritable. And then just getting out of the house. Usually it's just like a good change of environment.
Getting out of the house is good.
Yeah, like, okay, CJ, we're going to
Even
go
a
play in
walk.
the backyard. Yeah.
Yeah, go play outside.
And sometimes it's just like getting out of the environment.
We need to touch grass for a minute here.
Yeah, if he's really fussy, if the dog's going crazy, I'm like, we all just need to leave this room right now. And that kind of helps me.
For me, I was like, I'm not going to do laundry on the weekends. Like, because then when you feel like you have to do everything every single day at all times, that's when I was like, or if you don't, you feel guilty. So then I was like, if this is not an expectation, I'm like, oh, there's a ton of laundry, but it's Saturday. It's like, I don't do laundry on the weekends. Yeah. That, I don't know why that mental thing for me just like freed me. And I was like telling my friends this too. And I was like, oh, also after bedtime, I don't do anything. I was like, I just charge my batteries. And they're like, because everyone's like, okay, well, after bedtime, I'm going to clean it from dinner. I'm like, the dishes will still be there. Like, I don't know. We can do it. We can do it later. Like, I don't know. I had that boundary for myself where in the morning, I will like get to everything that I need to get to. But at night, I'm like, that's after bedtime, so it's a mess.
Yeah.
Gosh dang it.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think that's
And
good
like
to have.
that really, really helped me because before I was feeling like, my gosh, every day is demanding so much of me that I can't, if I literally cannot get to everything and still feel okay. So I was like, I just got to adjust my expectations. I'm not going to get to everything.
No, I think that's also really good for someone who like is at home a lot and is with their kids all the time too, and like balancing those expectations for yourself when part of what you do is doing the laundry and stuff like that, but giving yourself a break from that even is good.
Thank you to Cash App for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. Abby, when you pay people back with Cash App, do you pay them like with the exact cents, or do you like to just like round up?
No, I do the exact cents.
You do?
If I know it. Like if we like are splitting something, then I don't want to pay like less than my part. Do you round up?
It depends. Like now I'll round up to the nearest dollar, but in college I would always
Really?
put it to the exact like
Does this make
cent.
me look kind of cheap then?
Well, as long as you're paying your portion, I think
I
you're
just
good.
feel like that's the benefit of Cash App. If I only had cash, then I would have to round up or down.
Yeah.
But like Cash App, you can like be specific about it. Rounding up kind of feels like flexing on somebody. It's like, let's just keep it fair.
That's true. Maybe I need to stop flexing on people. That I've been rounding up to the nearest dollar. Making money moves should be easy, and that's why there's Cash App. It's fast, safe, and honestly just way more personalized than other apps out there.
See, that's what I'm doing. I'm personalizing my profit.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Plus, sending money with Cash App actually feels safe. If something feels sketchy or they see you might be sending money to a potential scammer, they'll warn you and make you think twice before you hit send.
You can even spice up your payments with custom text, stamps, and backgrounds, because why should paying your friend for a brunch be so boring?
For a limited time only, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, there's no catch. Just download Cash App and sign up. Use our exclusive referral code Unplanned in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App.
Another boundary I set for myself. I was like, my kids will never eat lunch in the house. That, I gave my other friends freedom from this too. They eat lunch, but they do not eat lunch in the house ever. I don't want to clean up 3 meals a day from plates. So they have a smorgasbord every day of snacks
Yum.
outside the house. And then we come in, and I'm assessed. Like, they had fruit, they had a cheese stick, they had a chomps bar, they had a granola bar, they had a yogurt packet and a bunch of water. I'm like, that's lunch. We're amazing. And now I don't have to clean up. I threw it away at the park. I threw it away at this place. And I told that to my other mom friends, and they're like, this is amazing. They're like, I used to be so stressed, feeling like there was constant cycle of dishes and everything. It's like, and we don't do lunch at home, so I don't know. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's an amazing boundary that I have. Even if you find yourself at home one day, you're like, okay, go to the back porch. Like, go eat that out there. It's fine. It's literally fine. And you don't have to clean up from the lunch.
My libido is lower than my partner's. Help. My only advice for that is get off birth control. That's how it keeps you from getting pregnant.
No, that's literally the truth. Because I honestly feel like you can find episodes of this podcast of me talking about my IUD and being like, oh, it's not affected me at all. I got rid of it, and that has been a major difference.
Yeah.
And it took me a few months to realize. Maybe it takes a while for it to rebalance, but like I got rid of my IUD, and then like a few months later I was like, why do I feel this type of way? I was literally like, oh my gosh. And I was like, this is what they're talking about. Like, they're not making this up. I thought I was just like exempt from that. And but even not just that, like my actual energy levels were so much higher after getting off of it. Now, I didn't notice it right away. I will say it took like, I will say 3 months, and I was like, I feel awake. Like, I never hit that afternoon slump as much. And it was really crazy.
Yeah, those were the two changes I noticed when I went off birth control: energy levels and sex drive.
You noticed that too?
I
noticed nothing.
Addie didn't have any difference.
I didn't have any differences.
Wow.
Getting on or off.
Wow, good.
Not like hormonal or like things that I could even like recognize.
Wow.
We've talked, I know all three of us have talked about this, and here's me eating my words. But when we're talking about like everyone talking about their cycle, every woman talking about their cycle and like the different phases of their cycle, I feel it now. I feel differences in myself. Do not even try to gaslight. Because literally last night I was telling you about, I was like, I'm not usually like this, but I was like, I feel so fat and ugly right now. And I was like, you know what? Some people would probably say that it's because of my cycle. I looked at what stage I was in. Luteal.
That's the only one I feel.
I don't feel any. Well, I
You don't feel the ovulation? The ovulation is crazy for me.
Actually, I physically feel ovulation.
No, I physically feel ovulation. I physically feel
I don't
myself
feel that.
wanting to procreate no matter what. Like, I was like, at all costs, we have to. And ovulation?
I guess I haven't paid attention that hard to that.
It would make sense that's.
I
What's
only
the
know the
other
ugly
stage?
stage.
I feel them. I really feel them now, guys.
Couldn't
I'm not
tell
even,
you.
I don't think
know
this
what
is
the other
fake. I
one
think
is.
this is real.
We should do some research on this.
sure.
Because I probably sound...
During ovulation, I feel like sexy. I'm like, okay. And I think, and Matt looks sexier to me.
Oh.
I will say,
pay
that's the
attention.
one thing I do notice, like the bloating situation during the different stages.
PMS
But
is
that's
obvious.
it.
Period is
And then
obvious.
period obvious.
What's the other
But
one?
I don't know.
Luteal, ovulation, period. Is that it, actually?
I think there are 4 phases.
There's another one.
Like, literally, that's when I'm like, I need a tan. I can't look at myself anymore.
I meant to bring that today.
I'm luteal. That's what I
What are the
felt.
phases of the menstrual cycle?
Okay, wait. This is, let me
Follicular.
preface our hot takes before was that people were overblowing these stages, which
in ways
that's probably
of-
still fair.
Yes, of like I can't work during this phase, or
No.
I can't. I don't feel like I can do this
Yeah.
because I'm.
You can't use it as an excuse.
excuse.
Yeah.
You can't use it as an
I
excuse
think
because
as
if I know
well.
anything about a
mean.
woman is that they are capable and adaptable.
I'm so mean because I'm in my luteal phase.
Oh, Blake doesn't let me get
We
away
don't
with
need to be
that.
using that as an excuse.
Is luteal make you mean?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
That's the only one I know.
Yeah, I didn't
The
notice
other one's
that.
follicular.
Oh, what is follicular?
I get more emotional in my luteal phase.
What does follicular? Oh, I cried like all night the other night. I was watching sad reels and I was just getting hit by them.
Your estrogen levels rise in the follicular phase.
So what does that make you do?
It's not going into that.
What is follicular? Guys, why don't we know about
Proliferative
Our,
phase?
our
What does
bodies.
proliferative mean?
Maybe that's why we have these hot takes that we don't agree
We're
with
so
the other
out of
people because
sync.
we just actually don't know.
We're so uneducated.
We're uneducated.
Are the ignorant ones.
Well, I will tell you, I was like, I
We'll
feel
take it.
fat and ugly. I don't know why I'm feeling so down on myself. I was like, I know I've gained weight. And then I literally was like, it's the luteal.
It's luteal.
And I was like, what does luteal mean? Because I didn't even know. And I Googled it. And I was like,
You said that yesterday. That would make sense.
exactly.
That
I was
would make
feeling it.
sense.
I
You
was
did
feeling
say that
it
yesterday.
so much. And I was feeling it so much. And then I told
I thought you looked at me
Matt, I
yesterday.
told, thank you. I told Matt, I was like, you need to download this app so you know
You
how
know
to
what
treat
my
me.
face is?
Oh, that's sweet.
He did. He has the app now.
That's
Sweet.
sweet.
He's like, I'm going to just check it before I jumped any kind of conclusions. And I was like,
that's
thank
sweet.
you.
Thank you so
Is he
much.
Blake's on the other boat where he's like, you can't be mean to me just because you're in.
Yeah, that's
whatever
fair.
stage. You can't be mean to me just because I'm pregnant. Just because you're pregnant. I'm like,
No, yes, you can. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, wait. Now we're putting you guys in the hot seat / myself. We're doing the hot seat right now.
Okay.
Rapid fire. Abby, do you get upset that both of your pregnancies were shared with someone else?
No, I'd be sad if I was doing it alone. Next.
rapid. I'm gonna try.
Okay, well,
I don't know if it'll be that rapid.
I was really worried that I stole your thunder the second time.
The second time with
With
Augie,
Augie.
it made it so much more fun.
Addie,
Yeah.
did here's the real question. Did Abigail steal your thunder?
Yeah.
Because you were pregnant
No.
first.
I needed someone to go through it with, and I feel like having someone I can talk to about it. And there's so many pregnant women. Why does it matter?
It's going to be really nice postpartum to have each other.
And I'm like, as soon as I'm like back, I'm like 6 weeks postpartum. You're gonna have your baby, and then I can help out there. So it's like it'd be great.
It's going to be baby heaven. Christmas is going to be so fun.
And then our babies are gonna have friends. Like that's so much more fun.
It's better. It's better. Trust me. This one is so out of package. We're not gonna answer this one. Moving on. Okay.
What is it?
It's if you had to switch husbands with one of us for 24 hours, who would you pick and why?
Oh, Blake, because he's a good cook. That'd be so fun.
I have to say Caleb because I'm not related to him.
You have to say Caleb, right?
Okay, so Addie, I know you're not picking.
Her boss.
I'm gonna go with Caleb. I don't spend as much time with Caleb.
He's gonna be honored. He has so much to
If
offer,
I switch
ladies.
with that, we would just be talking work all day long.
It's what it's like. No, I'm offended, honestly. You guys should marry my husband.
Okay, I'll take that. We'll go skateboarding.
You guys,
I don't get on a skateboard.
you guys would have a great time.
Record a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I just know that Addie and Matt would not be.
We actually
we'll
say
go-
that. But I don't know why we say it so often. We're like, we could never be married.
Yeah, I could never be married to Blake for so many reasons,
Yeah.
but he just bugs me so much.
Because you guys are literally you're very
Brother,
different. But
No, it's just Blake gets so
He's your
stuck
brother.
on an opinion that is like, I'm like, you
He's
know,
very
that's an
opinionated.
opinion, right? Like but he in his head, it's fact. I'm like, you just, you know,
Yeah.
that's your set of thoughts.
But that's why I love you guys talking to each other because you go back at him.
like-
I don't because I'm like I don't know. Is that fact? Probably.
You're like, he's right.
so confident.
What would you do for work if not content creation?
Ooh, I thought about this recently. Do you want to go first?
Mine's very easy. Like work in HR. That's I love people and working with people and helping people. So HR.
Let me guess, Abby, what you would do. Interior design?
No. Wow, you think I'm good at that?
Yeah. I feel like you're passionate about it. You're good at making a place feel like a home.
I could cry.
Right.
That's so nice.
Aw.
No, I was gonna say I think it'd be so fun to be a red carpet host.
You'd be so good at that.
Wouldn't that be so fun?
Okay, I should
Or
think
like
of
a
a more fun
QVC
answer.
host. Like you go on there and you have a time limit, and it's like you have to sell this many lipsticks.
Abby,
I'm like,
you
that'd
would be so
so
good
fun.
at that.
I feel like I'm kind of quick on my feet. I can feel the silence.
Okay, yeah, you would be good at that.
I think it'd be fun.
If I,
I have
I'm
one.
trying to think of funner.
I have two things.
It's not a word. Okay, you go.
I have two ideas.
Teacher.
Oh, actually, no. I went to school for that, but then as soon as I started
No,
subbing, I was like,
really
oh
Coffee
my
shop
gosh.
owner.
That sounds fun, but I don't want to be an owner of anything.
Okay, coffee shop barista.
A barista.
A barista would be really fun. Wasn't one of the two I was thinking
Oh
about.
boy, Abby.
One was I would love to be a personal chef for someone. I think it'd be
Okay,
so.
yes.
I love the idea. I
That
wouldn't
would
love
be
the
fun.
hours, but like a lot of people I see, they do work irregular hours and they just prep for dinner.
Yeah.
I was like, I would have a lot of fun just cooking for people and like growing grocery shopping for them. I don't know why that sounds like so
Yeah.
fun to me. I like saw this lady prepping juice for a family. I was like,
Yeah.
that sounds like a
That's
hobby.
Fun. You'd be good
okay,
at that.
I would love that. Or two, I don't know. I would have to learn a lot about cooking. I don't really know what I'm doing. But two would be a children's librarian. I think it'd be so fun. I'm like, I wanted to do story time, like read the picture. I love reading picture books to kids. Like it's so fun to me. But to do that at a library, like formally do that, you literally have to be like a librarian. And to be a librarian, you have to have your degree in library. I think it's library science, like is what it's
Wow.
called.
I didn't
thought
know
it was
that.
a volunteer job.
Okay, don't take me out. It's not. Let me look at that. What's the library
That's
degree?
so cool.
What accolades to be a librarian? Because I think it'd be so fun. And the book.
Yeah.
Okay, to become a librarian, you typically need a master's degree in library science.
Wait, that's
Wow.
super cool.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Who do you think is the wisest? No one can get offended right now.
My gut instinct is I would go to Abigail.
Oh, I was gonna say this.
But then,
Shut
okay,
up.
here's the
Sorry,
thing.
Addy.
You're the
I
youngest.
don't-
wise.
I did not want any of you to point to me. I would have been concerned.
You're very wise.
I would have been concerned. I go to you if I'm like, I have these questions about certain things. Things that just come up in my life, and I'm like, so Abby, I did this today. You're like, so why are you trying to do that to him? Why are you testing Blake right now?
Yes.
You got me.
Yes. You're always very level-headed in your responses.
Really?
Yes.
I would say that about you guys both.
Like whenever we have debates, like with the whole family or whatever, I feel like whenever you respond, I'm always like, oh, that was a really good, well thought out point.
Really?
Yes.
I think that about both of you. I really do. You're the
sweet.
wisest. I think it just makes
Yeah.
sense. You're also the oldest,
You're the
Abby.
oldest.
You have,
That's
but
kind.
you like, I know that doesn't mean the same thing, but like, you also are, you are the wisest.
I feel like at this
kind.
point, any of my wisdom is just wisdom you guys have told me, and then I just relay it back to you
I
guys.
feel like
So
it's
you
the same
ask.
way. I'm like, I really just heard it from other wise
what
people.
would they tell me at this point?
Yeah, I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
oh no, Abby told me I shouldn't do that anymore.
Also,
So I should tell Blake that Valentine's Day is coming up.
Trust
and
me,
that I
I'm
want
Team
something.
Addy over Team Blake.
I appreciate that.
Will you homeschool?
No. But will you homeschool my kids? Maybe.
I want to. I really want to.
I honestly haven't thought much about schools yet. There's so many options here. It feels a little overwhelming.
You know what's kind of crazy though is that when Griffin was not even one, someone was like, "Okay, well, here's the school that my kid's in." They're like talking about it. It was a preschool. It was in Arizona. There's a lot of language immersion preschools,
cool.
and they're like, "Oh, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to get in because the wait list is 3 years long." It's a preschool, so that would mean
You have to register.
the baby's born. They're registered for
Oh
preschool,
my god.
which is a little wild.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, I think we've limited some of our options at this point,
Yeah.
but not really. I mean, I'm sure there's still a lot of good options
Yeah.
out there, but it is kind of crazy how you do feel like you have to be on top of that stuff. Like I was
Yeah.
like, what?
It doesn't play into my strengths.
No.
Maybe
I know
maybe I'll
we're-
end up homeschooling because I got no other option.
No.
We're no homeschooling public and going to public school right now is what we've talked about. But we
Yeah.
also haven't looked into it. That's just like
Yeah.
been our viewpoint forever,
Yeah.
about it. We hadn't looked at what the schools look like in our area and those types of things. But that's something that we've been kind of have always thought.
I'm
Yeah.
very pro public education and like I think it's really good, but also I really, really want to be hands on and I feel like because of my background too, it's like I think that this is like I view it as like a gift that I have this opportunity to do it that I like really want to do it. But I also don't want my kids to be alone because they're both really social kids. So we're gonna try like a little hybrid homeschool with like friends type of thing.
Yeah, which is
in the
cool.
fall,
Yeah.
which I'm excited
Yeah.
about.
I'm like, I think like
Fun.
preschool and stuff like that.
That feels
Sure,
cash.
maybe it feels but like once they start getting to like elementary, middle, high, I'm like,
I just also know that, like, especially because I have boys, the way that standard education is really designed is for, like, the typical girl, like, wanting to sit down and, like, perform well on tests. And, like, you teach them, and they can regurgitate
Yeah.
it. Like, I think that's a strength in itself. But then it doesn't necessarily play to, like, the creative mind, the, like, also just like the high energy type of I think our kids will probably be more high energy type of kids, I'm
Yeah.
assuming. And so I don't know, I think I just want to always see, but then I'm like that's also a skill that they should learn is like when to play and when to stay still. So I don't know, I think I'll have to just always assess where I think my kids' needs are, but I think it's kind of hard when you're the mom. You're kind of like I'm your biggest fan, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I need to have someone be like, hey, it's time they learn to sit in a chair. I don't know.
I think it'll be a yearly
Check-in type of thing.
Yeah, because there are so many options in Arizona for how you do schooling that it's like maybe we do
Charter schools too. I
charter
never even
school
thought
one
about
year,
that.
and maybe it doesn't work. Maybe we do private school, maybe we do homeschool. I don't know. I feel like that's my next year to do is to like start thinking about
I had
that
a friend.
more deeply.
I have a friend who their kid was in preschool and they were calling home to say like, or like at their meetings, like parent teacher meetings, they were like, she's falling a little behind. She's not quite meeting these milestones that we were hoping. They went on a week-long vacation and they kind of gave her some supplies so she could keep her up to date. By the time she came back after a week, apparently she was like meeting all of those milestones.
Huh. So you just needed a little break.
I think she's maybe just need individualized, like
Yeah.
one-on-one
Yeah.
type of education.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that was inspiring to me too. I was like, you know,
Yeah.
every kid's kind of different. Their learning needs are different too.
Yeah. I'm glad we're in like positions where we can choose.
Make that decision.
Yeah, because I know not everyone. It's like you just have to go.
Totally. You don't have an option.
Yeah.
Especially like if you're living in a smaller town, we had one high school.
Cool. Yeah.
Just kidding. We had 2 high schools, but one public high school and the other one was smaller. So yeah.
There's lots of options here.
This one is a tough question. I was actually just talking to my mother-in-law about this. How do you split time with the wife's family versus the husband's family? That is a really tough thing to come across. Like, I feel like I remember that being one of the hardest things. Our first year of marriage was the holidays. I was like, oh my gosh, we have spent all of Thanksgiving and Christmas driving to and from places, and it's gotten not even fun anymore because I think we're just like, we're barely present because we're thinking about how we're gonna have to pick up and leave. And then it got a million times worse when we added kids into the mix. So what do you guys think about like navigating shared events and holidays and time with both sides of the family to keep it fair? Do you feel the need to keep it 50-50?
I do think it's important to try to keep it 50-50. But how you split the 50-50, I think there's wiggle room. Like, I know some people will do all of Thanksgiving with just one family, and then they'll do all of Christmas with just one family, and the next year they switch. So, and I'm like, that's really, because then you have quality time. Where we've done it is that when we've been able to go in for 2 weeks around Christmas, we've done that a couple times, and we'll do one whole week with my family, and then one whole week with Caleb's family, and then we will go to all of the holiday parties. So it's like you're having intentional quality time. Really, just what people want is quality time. So however you can best make that fair. I don't know. It's so hard. And it's hard by family and like regional.
Yeah, I also think it's like, I have to stop and recognize it's such a blessing that we have both sides of the family that want to be involved and like want us there and want to spend quality time with us.
Yeah.
It is still hard then to like feel like you're pulled in a million different directions because you're like, if I could clone myself, I would be at all this stuff. But then once we had Griffin is when I had to be like, okay, we're no longer driving this much because we're like, all we're spending our time doing is setting up and shutting down at Pack and Play. And it's getting really, you guys are really important to us, but like we have to and start work on like fragmenting it rather than just like we're piecing this all together. And yeah, that's really tough. I think it's never going to be 50-50 is the hard part of it all. Is that's just like a really unrealistic expectation maybe, but as close at what you can do that everyone feels like it's fair.
I feel like when you're in a situation like we're both in where we have part of our family here and then the other, so like my in-laws are here but my family is back home in Missouri, and so trying to figure out what's fair is hard, especially around the holidays because we spend all year with Blake's family, and then so staying here for holidays too and not going back home to see our family is kind of hard to be like, well, we didn't spend Christmas with them last year, so we're going to stay here, but they got to see us all year anyway. So kind of trying to navigate that, but my parents have been so gracious and like the best in this situation of like wanting to be involved but knowing it's hard for us and really not putting a lot of pressure on us, even though I know they want us there very badly. And so this last year I was like, Mom, since you don't live here and we would have to travel to you, which is more important to you, Thanksgiving or Christmas? We'll be there for Christmas if you want us there. We'll be there for Thanksgiving if you want us there. Thanksgiving Day to her was more important. Christmas we can do around whenever days work or things like that. And so we were like, we'll be very intentional about being there for Thanksgiving. We spent a whole week out there. We didn't spend Thanksgiving with you guys. I think we even had a small thing before we left.
Did.
And so it worked out. And then they came back for New Year's and spent New Year's here, and we did Christmas here with my family then. And so and I asked my mom again this year, I'm like, is that still what's important to you, is like Thanksgiving Day with everyone? And she's like, that's what we would like. And I'm like, okay, we're also gonna have a newborn baby. Like, she's gonna be like 3 months old at that point. Not sure if we're going to feel comfortable traveling, and she's put no pressures on us at all for that, even though I know she wants us there. And so kudos to my mom, and my dad just goes along with everything, and he knows that he wants, he always just like subtly say, he's like, oh, there's this flight these days. I'm like, okay, I know you want
Daddy,
us there. You know, like he's so sweet of like not putting pressure, but I can tell he wants us home.
Well,
That's sweet.
I think it's just everyone wants the effort.
Yeah.
No matter how the effort's positioned or split up or not, the people just want to feel loved and like they're important to you.
Something I love that you also like pointed out too, is like giving the options. And I think that's also like a way of being clear of like, okay, this is what our capacity is. Now it's in your hands. Like, which one do you choose? So they also feel like they have like a say so and like input. But the fact of the matter is like we're all in the situation of life where we have like the highest needs on our time. Like there's the most expectations with having little ones. And so I feel like when we're older, now we have to remember this.
Yeah.
Keep this in the back of our mind. Remember, like, okay, our calendar does not look like their calendar. And because otherwise I'm like, I would also like it on the receiving end for if it was like, hey, I know you can't do everything. Here are these 2 things that are really important to us. Like, if you could make it to one of them, that would feel really, like, we would really appreciate that. I think that's a good way to communicate those types of things. Here's everything in front of us. Let's look at it above, bird's eye view. What can we prioritize?
Yeah.
A unique situation with, like, all of us is you guys have joint family events. We have joint family events. So if you're going to go back to Quincy for something, do we also need to go? If she's going to go home for Christmas, do you guys need to go home for Christmas?
I also feel like that's a factor.
And so we kind of have to all like have that conversation too. I'm like, are you
Don't make me the bad guy.
But here's the thing. Guess what? This year you went back and they had Christmas in Quincy or in St. Louis. We didn't. We said we weren't going to travel, and we didn't end up traveling. And so kind of, like, sticking to our word on that a little bit is also important so people know that that's, like, what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But we also could have traveled. But the finances part of it. We were like, we also don't have the finances to do both. So choosing one of those is hard, too.
Totally.
But
That's tough.
that is fun. Having to be like, so are you going to do it? Are you going to go? Or are you going to, what are we doing?
I love that you guys are willing to do this, and this was like a really fun conversation.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's gonna be a lot of follow-ups to come. I'm so excited for the babies. That really changed things, guys.
I know. It'll be
excited.
weird.
You guys look great too, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks.
The glow.
Yay, the
That's really why I
pregnancy
think this
glow.
baby's a girl. Because my skin is crazy.
Wait, your skin's crazy?
Yes, stay tuned.
So dry.
You guys,
It's crazy.
be rooting for a girl, but we'd love a boy
But
too.
we would love a boy too.
Wait, also, before you leave, make sure you subscribe to Caleb and Abby on YouTube. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
sweet.
I've subscribed, so they come up. But
Thank
Caleb
you.
and Abby, the goal is 100. You said it's 100,000 by the end of the year.
Oh, heck
Put it out
yeah,
there.
Let's
Sorry,
do
I
it.
just burped. Oh,
And she's like,
it's a girl.
Indigestion. Follow us on YouTube at Caleb and Abby, and me on Instagram at Abigail G. Howard.
Addie, shout it out.
Addie Bisbal on
There you go.
Instagram. But really,
but
go
yeah.
subscribe to her.
Go subscribe.
That's my push.
You guys,
Go
if you do
subscribe.
if you do anything for us after listening to this, subscribe to Caleb and Abby because their goal is 100K by the end of the year, and I really
Yeah,
think that they
we
can
can
do
do
it.
it.
That's sweet.
Put the goal out there.
Yeah.
The goal is 100K.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you so much again for being
thank
here.
you for
Love
letting
the
us.
sister.
Thank you.
Love ya.
you.